before Paul Groove calls, he's calling pretty soon. We have a handwritten warrant for the amount of $73,753.26 from EMA. It's to Graybell Communications for the new OPS channel on all towers in the equipment room. The date of the invoice is 7/30/2014. You want to explain any of it, Tim?
It was the $220,000 that came in last year to do the sheriff ops upgrade, and we paid them $100,000. They started before the 1 July, that was part of the agreement, but it couldn't be paid anything until the new year. We paid them $100,000, told them to pay the remaining when it was accepted. And we held it off for a couple months because we had some issues there, 3 months. We accepted it just after Thanksgiving. It's out of the sheriff's because it was out of his, but I managed it, and it's just been kind of floating down there, and I would like to pay them for the equipment they already had in our county and we're using, because I have another grant with them for another $115,000 to fix something else.
So the amount is $73,753.26.
And we knew this was coming, and we knew it was budgeted, correct?
Yep.
So moved.
Okay, the motion been made by Smith. Is there a second on that motion?
Second.
Second by Kaufman. Any discussion? Roll call. Smith.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
David, aye.
Thank you.
Signed and done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
We're very
You
formal.
want me to carry it for that? Yeah.
What?
You want me to take it to her?
I guess, do you want it?
I do.
Well, I don't think it, should we get it out today?
Oh, well, I'm not sure about that, but give her a chance to start on it.
Just tell her I need the check number.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, thank you.
Looks a lot better.
Everybody's coming to the transfer station meeting tonight at 7 o'clock in the basement. The budget.
Transfer station. Am I on that one?
Nope.
No,
No.
I'm not.
You don't get a vote though.
You get a vote.
I get a vote.
Yep,
And what time is that?
7 o'clock.
Paul, I'm gonna transfer you to the
Can you call me on the phone?
This is Paul Drew.
Can I vote on the phone?
Hello, Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Yeah, you want to get Carrie in also?
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
We had a couple of, well, I in particular had a couple of questions about the compensation study. On the elected officials part, we have a couple of departments that we're really struggling with. One is the sheriff's office. Well, we're struggling with all of them, but the sheriff's office, and I especially have a problem with the county attorney's office. I understand that he appealed it for his deputy, which would be Adam. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, the
here she comes.
problem that we're running into with some of that is we're not going to be able to keep people if we don't keep them, especially attorneys who have 8 years of schooling or more. How are we going to retain these people?
And with the elected officials, and I think this is something we had, talked about in advance, is most of them don't have, as example, education or experience requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So the study is built off of those. So in our very first conversation, most counties that do this don't include elected officials at all. So when we started it, I think we were looking at it as saying, we'll put them in there and kind of use it as, I guess a benchmark, so to speak. But, early on we knew that, the system that's in place is built on what are your education requirements, experience requirements upon hire. So this system isn't necessarily built for elected officials for that reason. So as an example, the auditor doesn't have to have a 4-year degree. Doesn't have to have any experience, they have to be elected. So we knew that going into it, and we had to take certain, kind of educated guesses as to where they would land.
So basically, where Adam has to basically have the same education, he has to have a law license, he has to have everything that the county attorney has, he's just not elected. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, the way the system would differentiate the two is going to be the education experience may be exact exactly the same. The difference in why the assistant county attorney would earn a lower score would have been based on supervision, budget impact, a few of those compensable factors. So that would show that difference. So when we had spoken to Jeff about that, that was one option that, I said we can, if that's what, the elected officials as a whole want to do is, I don't have any concern with saying, well, look, this process is in place for the non-union, non-elected. The elected officials are in a different group anyway because it's based on the compensation board. It isn't purely the decision based on the board of supervisors. So this board, if you wanted to, could say, we're going to leave it in place so that we can use that as a benchmark for our elected officials. But again, I think most counties pull their elected officials out of it completely and say, we get it, it's a good benchmark, but there are different rules in place because of the compensation board.
I don't think it's so much a question on the elected officials as it is on the deputies of the elected officials.
Yep, and that's the other.
That's what we're toying with right now,
Yep.
Because some of the department heads have budgeted for a percentage, and some of them have gone along with the hourly rate that the compensation board set.
Yep, and that's the other, dilemma is that you have two potentially opposing forces. You have, if they weren't a deputy, they would fall on that range and then land just like they would anybody else. And then they would fall right into that system. The dilemma is that state law allows you to pay them up to 85%, and so that would generally pull them up. So a deputy elected official is much easier to put into that system. But again, the difference is the fact that if you're non-union, non-deputy, the board sets your rate of pay. And that issue is with the elected officials that they typically pass on the comp board recommendation and the board approved number to their deputies. You're pulling that away too. You've got a different way that you increase rates of pay, and those two don't always line up. Just like you face every year. The compensation board might recommend something differently than what the board would have.
Yeah, but I guess the thing that the board is toying with right now is that we have some department heads that have taken and put in their budget 85% or 80% for their deputies, namely the sheriff and the county attorney, and the other deputy and the treasurer, and then the auditor and the recorder have put their budget in with the hourly rate that that the compensation board has recommended. So which way do we go?
Well, and that's where, with the deputies, I think they fall in the compensation study easily, right? I don't have to. They're not an elected body. They have a job description, so it falls that. I think in my opinion, those deputies, they would follow the compensation study. The elected officials, I think you could say, we'll pull those out, but I think the deputies, for the most part, it's a tough. I don't know. I mean, you end up with a potential fight on your hands, but I don't know, if that's a benefit to anybody.
Well,
right? Essentially, they could say, well, fine, I'll put it in as an hourly rate, but then what would stop any one of them from increasing it mid-year and saying, well, as long as I keep them below my statutory limit of 85%, there's nothing you can do about it.
That's right. And I guess my feeling, Paul, is that, and tell me if I'm wrong, what if we would, this year, if we take the deputies out of the comp study and then say, okay, next year you got to be in. And you'd go at an hourly rate, or they could appeal it or anything else to the comp board.
Yes, that was an option. Say, fine, we'll leave it as is this year, and then you have a chance to bring that up for an appeal next year, and at that point we'll look to incorporate it into that hourly rate.
Anybody else got any questions for Paul? Comments?
Paul, I know some of the discrepancies that we've heard from some of the employees are where you got your comparables from. Like the county attorney's office, they're kind of wondering how you got comparables on that, or there's only 2 in their particular department that do, and they basically both have to have the same law license, the same degree to do the same job.
Yeah, the list that we developed looked both at geography. So we essentially drew a circle around Tipton, hit those counties around us geographically. Additionally, we took a look at counties based on population. So I don't have the notes in front of me, but I think we sent that survey out to, 75 entities. So counties and private sector companies asking for that input. So all of that information was based off of what people, how they had responded. Additionally, I used the ISAC information, and I also used a couple of external private studies. So I think all said and told, we did, at least 5 different groups that we looked at.
Paul, did we take into consideration that some departments are paid overtime and some departments aren't even allowed comp time? They're just paid a straight. I talked to Carrie's department, they use comp time. If they work longer one week, they turn around and try and make that up some other time. That does not work that way in the county attorney's office.
Right.
So was that taken into consideration with the study also?
Yeah, so, the number of hours an employee works would not have had an impact on the study whatsoever. So whether you work 40 hours or 50, the external information will be based off of a 2,080-hour year work week. Whether or not you have the ability to earn overtime, meaning if you're exempt or non-exempt, that would have been accounted for in the study. So the way you would typically earn that exemption is if you're a supervisor of people, that's one way to earn the exemption, and that would have shown up. That would have been reflected, and you would have earned a higher rate of pay. Additionally, you could have considerable autonomy in your job. That would have earned you that exemption, and that would have been accounted for under decision-making under the study. And then also, as an example, a public health nurse is exempt from overtime, and they earn that exemption by having a degree, and so that's accounted for in that system as well. So the number of hours, no, but the type of work, whether you're exempt or not, would have been incorporated into that set.
Paul, are you, we've got, in terms of these departments that have independent boards that are guiding them, actually doesn't look. We have voluntary compliance with the comp board on all but one. And in that particular case, we have the independently appointed board unanimously suggesting it's a little convoluted, but essentially suggesting a higher rate of pay. I guess 2 questions. One, are you surprised, based on the work you've done in other counties, that we've got all but one voluntarily complying with this? That seems to me to be a fairly high rate of voluntary compliance with these independent boards, or is that typically what you're finding across or in your clients?
Yeah, I think I'm dealing with that right now in a different county where the conference board is having some pushback. But my expectation going in, because of the way that Cedar County approached it, was that everybody had at least tacitly noted that they would adhere to the results. My hope, truthfully, is that everybody would follow it. We went into it eyes wide open. But yeah, it isn't. I guess if I'm thinking of other counties, the one that's dealing with that right now, I think they're having some pushback from the assessor's office, and it could quite end up being that way as well. So it's kind of hard to tell, actually.
Do you think when that, let's just say in the example you gave, that their conference board goes ahead and says, no, we're not going to comply with the compensation study, is that, do you see that as potentially slowly unraveling all of the compensation study, or an isolated Or have you seen situations where that's happened and it's just an isolated example that doesn't have a domino effect?
Yeah, I think it would be an isolated example to say that in this county, the conference board has typically offered wage increases far in excess of what the board would offer everybody else. So I think it's isolated. I don't think it has that unraveling effect. Everybody else follows it. That board or that commission decided not to. So be it. But the rest is solid and is going to be followed.
Okay, just wanting a little perspective on that. Thanks.
You bet.
Okay, any more questions for Paul?
I don't have anything else.
Brad? John?
Nope.
Jeff? Anything else? Carrie, do you have anything for him?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
You bet. Take care.
Okay, so now what's the board's wish? Or you want to wait till after you meet with the VA board next week?
Probably make a decision on everything besides that.
Okay. So what we need to do today is we need to find out if you're going to make everybody follow the comp board or whether you're going to, what you're going to do.
Could, I guess this is for Carrie or Dawn. Would you think that, the one I'm still worried about is the assistant county attorney, because of turnover. That's what bothers me the most. Could Jeff, even though he's already appealed and got him moved up a number, you think it's a stretch that he would come back again next year and attempt to present some evidence that isolates that assistant county attorney to ask for a movement up, or is he pretty much exhausted? Is he where I think he's got? I know that's speculation, but do you
think unless his duties changed, he's at the point he needs to be. The only thing the board could do is have Paul redo his comparisons and compare different counties per the board's wish to see if it would change it. But no, I mean,
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all the different occupations, and I'm looking at, and nothing against law enforcement, but I'm looking at the sheriff, and I'm looking at some of the chief deputies who are making $26 to $30 an hour, and they have their education paid for by the department. And then I'm looking at an attorney who has to pay for his own education, has 8 years of education. How does that? I struggled with it when we did it, and I'm struggling with it now. And I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, but those other particular people even have the possibility of earning overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that was all probably, as we've heard, that everything was considered, but I'm like.
Well, and it was. Don, what you have to
I know.
realize, through the years, the assistant county attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, John, you've been here the longest, they've always said they have not been compensated of how they have.
And I hate to say this, but that's clear across the state. I mean, that they don't feel like they're.
And it's just not them. I mean, but here or there, but yeah. I don't know. Correct. I mean,
A county attorney is a county attorney, is not a private practice attorney. So there's a difference.
no, what I'm
That's
saying
what
with
it
all the
is.
comparables through the years of the compensation board upstairs comparing and everything. So,
Yeah.
remember last year, it kinda got, kind of boomerang back, and when they tried a differential, or no, that was with what was that last year that happened? We ended up giving the county attorney a smaller raise.
No, it's cents instead of percentage, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we voted to do the study. I'm like, we either hold everybody to it or we don't. And as he said, the only ones we can really take it, that we could really, I guess, honor the independent board one. But
I'll put a motion out there that we comply with the compensation study committee's recommendations across the board. And for this year, and recommend that they take a look at those issues that we've been discussing today as a compensation committee, and meet next year and deal with those folks that we're having issues with.
Okay,
And they would have to go through the appeal process. So, you know, if the county attorney has an issue, if the sheriff has an issue, it still would have to go through that. That way the compensation committee would still have that structure in place to handle it. And I think it has to be done that way, or it destroys the integrity of that committee.
Okay, the motion's been made by Bell. Is there a second to that motion?
Do you want all of that in as far as destroying the, I mean, I can
No,
get
you
it
don't
on
have
the
to have the
tape.
comment in there.
Okay, so here, can I read what I have?
Okay.
Yeah.
Comply with the compensation study committee's recommendation across the board for fiscal year 15 and 16, and recommend they take a look at the issues discussed today and deal with them and go through the appeal process. Is that
Deal with them through the structure that's in place.
through the structure? Forget the appeal part, right?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second? Again, I ask, is there a second? Okay, the motion died on lack of a second. Is there any other motions to be made?
Can I, what John said, with the exception of the Veterans Department until after we meet with the Veterans Committee. I'll say comment until after.
So everything in that motion with the exception
Until after we meet, with the exception of the Veterans Committee, before we
of
meet with the
VA
vet.
commission.
Yeah, why would we bring the veterans in to talk to them if we already made our decision?
Okay, so that's your motion?
That'd be mine, just to get it out there, get something out there.
But the rest of it is just like what John said?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion been made by Kaufman. Is there a second? on that motion. Again, I ask, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded by Gal. Any discussion?
I just, the reason I threw that in is if that would have died for a motion, the next one I was gonna throw out there is, what John said, the exception of the Veterans, Department until after we meet the veterans and the county attorney. I was just gonna keep throwing them in until we got, I just don't think, I would rather not make the decision before we've talked to the people that we invited in to visit with to see if there's some kind of compromise. And I'm reluctant I'm really, really reluctant, that assistant county attorney really bothers me, but
And I guess my reasoning for that is we had all of them here except for one. We had the opportunity to ask the questions, which I asked the questions that I needed to ask in regards to that. They had their presentation to us. I don't know what more we need from them, or what more we can get out of them, or what more they can understand that where we're at. We explained why we're where we're at, and I think we're prolonging something that doesn't need to be prolonged. And communication that's already been had.
Yeah, my feeling is I'd rather see us wait till next year and put all the deputies into the compensation study next July, a year from now. Because I don't think everybody understood what this whole comp study was for and what it was going to do and everything else. And I think it'd give everybody a chance to kind of refresh their memory and get something out there and take it to the comp board. So this is my feeling on it. I just soon leave the deputies and the elected officials out of the comp study this year.
Problem is, everybody's making sense. Everything I've heard makes sense. I mean, it's justifiable.
Okay, is there any more discussion? A roll call vote. Calvin.
Aye.
McGowl.
Aye.
Dearborn, nay. Smith.
Nay.
Bell.
Nay.
Okay, it has not been passed.
Yeah.
So, anybody want to make another motion?
We're ready for another one.
I'm open for another motion. You gotta do something on it to get, so Carrie can put the
Well-
figures together.
But, time out a minute.
Yep.
You have time. This is huge, and I see everyone struggling, and I feel for you. So if you need more time, it's nothing that can't come up next week.
Do you wanna do that next week?
I don't
Wanna
wanna
think about
push
it?
you into making a decision that you're not comfortable with either. So
I think these motions are
But the
helpful,
thing
too.
is kicking it down the road next week, they're not going to be able to appeal. Well, they've already appealed.
the appeal process is over. I'm just allowing you more time to gather your thoughts or.
I thought we were gonna bring the veterans in here to see if we could get
Well,
some
we
middle
did,
ground.
we scheduled them for
Right.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
had a
what we're gonna
chance to
stick
call
with.
them yet,
Well, that's one piece of it, but I'm hearing.
You still have everything else, so.
Yeah, the assistant county attorney, the waiting for a while, we got
Yeah.
not wait, I mean, we got 3 other valid
Well,
opinions.
my idea was to leave the deputies as they were previously, take them completely out of the comp study. So in other words, and I don't know what your deputies make in your office, but if they make 80% of her wages, whatever we give for an increase in the elected officials, that deputy get it. Same way with the deputies down there at Warren's.
Well, how are we gonna work this? Because Gary refused to redo his, so where is he gonna, in order to leave his at 85, how does that work with the comp study if he's flat out refused to change his numbers?
Then what you do as a board for the code is, what you can mandate is what his bottom line is. So
And
you
then
guys would
he
have to.
and then he has to figure it out.
Yeah, that's what you can do for elected officials. That's the only thing you can do, since we're elected officer, we run our offices the way we feel.
And basically, all these departments all the elected officials that have discrepancies said, we'll find it in our budget. So they're gonna get paid. I know very well they're gonna get paid.
Some of them don't have a whole lot of wiggle room.
Freaking tight.
Well, my feeling is that this comp study, even we're confused about this comp study in a way. I mean, it came in.
Well, I think if I can add
Yes.
something, if that would be a decision that the board would wait till next year and do the comp study, along with it, the only way that thing is gonna change is if the board, as a board, sits down and figures out, okay, Paul, here's who we want you to compare us to. What counties? You pick them. Okay, instead of how he did, because that's where your discrepancy. Anyone can come in unless they change their job description huge, their number is not going to change. It's like the county attorney. Yeah, we talked to him till he was blue in the face about supervisory. So are you saying then when one of your individuals is gone, Adam can approve that? Well, no. Well, okay. You see what I'm saying? We worked with him to see and make sure we had every number justifiable. So that number is not going to change unless something totally drastically happens. Okay? It's very clean cut, simple. Where it comes into play, I believe, is your comparables. So if you were the only sensible thing, if you wait a year, you need to critique the current plan then to make a difference. Because if you're not going to do different comparables, there's no sense in waiting. You might as well just go with the compensation study, and it is what it is. I just say regardless, yeah, you go right across the board, like you said. Even your Veterans Affairs. You cut their bottom line. You have that ability.
But like if you use comparables out in western Iowa for some of this, you know.
If you, right, I mean,
Yeah,
you guys
that's-
can, yeah, you're the board, you're the one that hired them, you can tell them which counties to do.
Well, I do remember we asked, and I don't know if this happened, because I deliberately stayed out of the process so that there wouldn't be political influence in the 10 members that were doing their duty.
Mhm.
Maybe that was a wrong approach, I don't know, but I remember specifically asking about the uniqueness of Cedar County in that it's a rural county, but it's surrounded by urban areas that give greater opportunity and he agreed with that. Now, it was down in the big room. I don't know if that happened or not.
And everything's unique though. I mean, you talk about county attorney, you talk about sheriff, you talk about auditor. I mean, we just go right 40 miles down Scott County, the auditor is not sitting in with the board right now, they have a finance manager. So that's what I'm saying. Each one of us is very unique. So that's where it makes sense to take us totally out of that equation.
You mean the elected officials?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, sort of, well, I don't put words in your mouth, tell me, because I'm listening here.
But see, the two departments we're having the biggest problem with aren't elected. Well, the county attorney is elected.
Yes.
But his deputy, you know, that's where we have a discrepancy.
Right.
Deputy and an independent board is the.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you want to think about it, bring it up, put it on the agenda for next Tuesday?
There's no easy answer.
No, there isn't. So Wayne, what do you think would happen? And then this isn't a loaded question, I'm honestly asking. What do you think would happen in that year delay you're suggesting? What would actually happen during that year that would make us different than next year sitting here?
Comparables.
Looking at each other.
That's it.
That's it.
I think they'd take a look at the different deputies, you know, qualifications to be a deputy in that.
And you'd have a bunch of ticked off employees because we're implementing it partway.
You're gonna have employees pissed off the other way too.
That's right.
And you're gonna have employees mad if we take the other elected officials out of the mix. Or if the union doesn't go along with what we're saying.
That's right.
Anyway, we're gonna have irritation, I mean, you're always gonna have irritations when you talk.
We could always throw a number in a hat. Can't agree on anything. Oh no. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's a big decision.
Well, it don't sound like we're gonna get a consensus here today, so we'll put it on the agenda for Tuesday. There's nobody speaking forward, so.
We tried 2 motions, so.
Yep, they both died. One for his lack of a second, the other voted down. Okay, going back to the rural services, and everybody got the sheet that Carrie
Yeah.
gave you?
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I
Yep.
did?
Looks good.
Okay. So I did not have enough time to make all the other little changes for the general fund, but I'll do that. Because I know there will be more changes yet too with whatever happens with this whole comp study thing, so.
The only thing I say on that is I hope that Rob gets the extra money for that tractor and chipper through gas tax increase.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be the end of the world, but hopefully it'll be okay.
Carrie,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead, Mike.
But if you run that chipper for a while, and how old that is and everything. So, what are you gonna say?
I think I know the answer to this, but this is a levy, and this is .13, is that what you had on there?
333.
Yeah.
Did our levy decrease in any of the others?
No,
No.
they're all staying the same.
The 3 stay the same. I kinda take the Pioneer Cemetery one.
Yeah,
That's kind of
okay,
a
so your
separate-
general and general stuff was all calculated on current levy rates.
Right.
This rural one though went up to 13 cents.
Okay, and last year, all 3 went up, is that correct? No.
Just, the general always stays the same, general stuff went up and the rural went up.
So 2 went up last year?
Yes.
Okay.
This year, all you're proposing is the rural go up.
Yes.
Well, there's one thing about it, we have given due diligence to what should go in there. I mean, that's about a 2-hour session.
Yeah.
Did the board not do Riverbend Transit, or did you not want to yet?
We haven't done them yet.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think, maybe you don't want to.
Depends on what fund they come out of.
Fun one.
Will we fund Riverbend Transit at the current level for next year?
Okay, the motion is made by Bell, is there a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Second by Dawn. Second by Smith. Any discussion? Roll call. Bell.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Yep, Kaufman.
Aye.
Dearwood, aye. Is there anything else we need to approve then?
I think we need to take a look at conservation myself, to have adding a patrol officer, adding a part-time employee, and adding a couple new buildings, or 1 or 2 new buildings, I think is a lot in 1 year. And I know we talked about, in regards to those buildings, we could pull that out of the balance he has, the capital improvement. I mean, his budget went up 25%, over 25%.
So John, you're wanting to pull from where?
Well, I think it's just, we're cutting everybody else back to kind of hold the line, and he basically asked for a new patrol person, asked for another part-time person, asked for, let's see, I know 441 building repair maintenance, he's got that up to 15 from 5, and then he's got I think construction and maintenance, they're doing another 30,000 when they haven't spent that. Let's see, he's got a motor vehicle, of course this time's, that's about every other year. But when he was in here, we talked to him about the possibility of taking, like that 15,000 out of the balance. And it seems like a lot just to throw 2 more, or 1.5 more staff on.
Somebody explain to me how the trust fund fits into this budget. In that, like that 25%, is that, that's
No.
completely separate view?
He has certain funds that he can only use certain things for, just like we can do for our supplemental and our roll. So that's what he has. He's got his trust fund that he can spend certain things out of.
But the 2 items John mentioned do not come out of the trust fund.
That 15,000, I believe that's for, he put roofs on certain,
Red Oak and Cedar Valley, windows and siding.
Yeah, he needed the windows and siding there. His land acquisition fund, I know they're in the works of putting a new toilet facility thing.
Shower thing,
Yeah,
out at Benham
yeah.
Park.
So, and I think he's got a max on land acquisition. He can only have
Right.
60 grand in
Right.
there. So yeah, I think that's what he
And
was
he's
probably
almost
toying
announced.
about, trying to put 15 in there. He wouldn't be able to do his other projects. And that was just a seasonal, correct? He was bringing another
Somebody to
seasonal.
mow.
Yeah.
And a part-time, or
That was
excuse me, and
part-time.
a patrol officer.
That's just on weekends.
That's not what he said does.
He's got a person right now that he uses. So, along with it, you gotta realize your comp time.
You didn't want, so he didn't want a full-time patrol?
No, his board, yeah, his
So
board.
that 26,601 is a part-time mower person for the season?
Because then
and-
he'd be up to 3, because he's got 2 seasonals right now,
Okay.
right? 10, 8, 24, yeah. Because right now, that 16, figure he's got 2 of them, so that's 8 apiece. He adds another one, another 8, would be 24,000. And that extra 2,600 in here is for his, patrol officer that he uses on the weekends.
And the thing is, he's getting more ground too, isn't he, to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
We've got that ground down there by Cedars and.
Well, the main thing that I was concerned about was the 441, and that was because every year, almost every year, what year haven't we put money into the trust, or into the fund at the end of the year?
I have my file,
It's been, almost every year.
but there's not that much that gets transferred over.
But what I'm saying is we almost always put money in there, so, and there's 58,000, I don't know as though that, he's got some money in the budget already for that, that construction of that new toilet facility, and he was using that for overrun and what, in case he got into something else. I think he could take that out of that, that number out of there and cut back a little bit. And even if it ran it down to basically very minimal amount left over, we're constantly putting money in it to build it back up.
You recommend he takes $10,000 out of there
At least.
and use that for the Red Oak and Cedar Valley windows and siding, that land acquisition fund?
Mm-hmm.
So then we put 5,000 back in.
You'd be actually putting 10,000 back into the general, correct?
If you do what, John?
If you change that, take 10,000 out of that line item, we'll just have.
Yeah.
And put that to land acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
How much we usually put in that land acquisition, 5 a year?
It varies.
Last year it was 3,800. June of 2013, there was no resolution done, so we didn't transfer any. What was, oh, this is per our code section, isn't it?
He could use that land acquisition fund for that?
Yeah, for capital improvements.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my thought was that, we're not raising the taxes, why do you want to take $10,000 away? But if we go with the deputies in there, it's going to raise the general fund, right? General sub, anyhow.
General sub, yeah. And actually, dollar-wise, it doesn't really amount to much if you do your percentages.
if we leave it the way it is right now.
For the
Yeah,
percentages of
deputies.
all deputies, yeah.
Because the sheriff's already got his in there.
Well, we ran it the first time with his percentage, then we ran it again. What he currently has in there right now is based off the comp study.
The new number.
Okay, is that's the
Yeah.
way the general fund set up now, general supplement? Okay.
Yeah,
So basically then, Jeff had his in, right? County attorney
percentage,
and the treasurer.
percentage.
Right. So it's just your deputy and you got two
Melissa's one.
deputies and one in upstairs and then 24,000 or 42,000, whatever at Warren.
24 for Warren is what the difference was for all his.
For 12 deputies, you're talking $24,000 more,
Mhm.
or 11 deputies, I should say.
Yeah, that's FICA and IFRS too,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So it's 10,000 isn't gonna reduce the levy in the general fund anyhow, if we take it from land acquisition, or we take it out of the general, right?
Mm-mm. No, your levy's gonna stay the same at $3.50.
I don't base my decisions on how it's gonna affect the levy totally. I mean, I just thought when he went through that was something I was gonna bring back up. I'd marked it. And he said thought he could handle it under taking some, I asked him that question when he was in here. If you could take some of that out of that, and you could, if you need to, or want to.
Are there any other budgets you wanna discuss?
So Bev, what do we have left that we haven't gotten to?
I think you did all the agencies that you usually do for the funding equipment at the
How about the,
Did we do Seco? Seco?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, we did Seco, that's right, we left it the same.
I think you got it all in.
Graves comes from part of the veterans budget, right?
Carrie had put the money in there for the veterans raise, right?
Yes, yeah,
Is that
that
what you're
reflects
asking?
off your numbers.
Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, did the board wanna take the recommendation of the commission?
Oh, I see.
$4,600.
Yeah, but I mean, how we broke that down, cause technically that's the board's prerogative, where
You want
that
them
money
to-
should go.
To approve this list.
Yeah, I mean, I just want, what I gave you was not the final word, it was the recommendation to the board.
Okay.
So that was their proposal.
So,
Right? Am I missing something on
the
that?
ones that are listed right there adds up to that 45 something. So that's the only ones that are gonna get paid out of that budget year then?
Yeah, Mason,
Okay.
Wallach Cemetery, Inland, Rochester, Sharon, South Bethel, and Red Oak Grove.
And they were the only ones that applied, but they all didn't get what they wanted.
Okay.
So we should have a motion to that effect
I
to,
thought we did that.
I don't
think you did.
think so.
we were gonna wait for it till the budget.
You were gonna tell Carrie to talk to Carrie about it, I think.
I put it in the budget for that 4,600.
I don't think that you approved it.
But I think we have to approve where that exact money goes, cause you didn't empower the commission to do that, you just asked the commission to give
Recommendation.
recommendations to us.
Because this will go through Department 99 Fund 1, not through Pioneer Cemetery.
Right,
Right.
two different
Okay,
things.
okay. Nope, that's all right, I just want to clarify.
So we should have a motion to that effect to follow the recommendation of the Pioneer Cemetery then.
So moved.
Okay, the motion's been made by Smith, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Gal, roll call, Smith.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
And Dearborn, aye. What'd you want to do on the conservation budget, John?
I move we take that out of the, land
Land
acquisition and capital improvement fund, 10,000.
Okay, wait a minute. Take what now?
$10,000
Out of what?
land acquisition and capital improvement for line item 441. and reduce that to $5,000.
Take $10,000 out of the land acquisition fund for line item 441.
Yes,
And
Put
reduce
it-
that to full 5,000, you said?
to 5,000.
So what you're really doing is reducing his bottom line.
Right,
Yeah.
by 10.
You're just taking it out of a different fund.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not putting it somewhere, you're just reducing it by 10,000.
Right.
The land acquisition fund.
No, you're not
You-
reducing the land acquisition, you're
No, we're
out of the
reducing
gym.
this 441 line item to
Oh, the concert
5,000,
budget.
by $10,000 to 5,000.
From the conservation budget.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, because I had.
Okay, the motion's been made. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Kaufman. Any discussion? Roll call. Bell.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Deborah, aye. Okay, anything else on that? So we basically gotta wait till next Tuesday to
Mhm.
get the rest of the.
Any other budgets, though, you wanna go through?
Any other budgets?
I mean, if you're gonna start going through one by one.
Some of these were very lean, I'll tell you.
Some were definitely more padded.
What's your
than
first one
others.
there, Carrie?
Like the boards.
Supervisor?
I'm
Go
kidding.
for it.
Have some humor.
You mean on the padded one you're talking about? Yeah.
Have some padding here for $200 for fuels. You only spent $136 last year.
We don't have a card right now.
Yeah, you gave your car away.
You take that 200 out now.
No.
Do you need to put more in for mine? Because you took
I was
the
gonna
car
say,
out?
I'm wondering if
Yeah,
we're gonna have to. 'cause-
Drove
Because
my
you
own
take
car
it
out
quite
to
a bit.
Tama and down to Davenport.
I don't know how much it is. You have two.
If I end up going to Des Moines for mental health.
Yeah.
Right now, employees' mileage and subs is at 1,500. But you have fuels for 200, so we could actually just put that down in the mileage, right? Since you use
What
them
did we
for the
spend
fuel.
last year?
I'll get you out to the morning one.
You don't want.
Don't you have an electric car or anything?
Yeah. Should have one.
So far, we spent $42 this year.
Yeah, I'm looking at a different one, so.
130, 295, about $711. So we should be already at that same mileage. Shouldn't be that much more.
Carrie, if we go to a particular committee meeting, does that mileage reimbursement come out of that account, or does it come out of the board's account?
Your account.
And there's forms in this folder, Don,
Okay.
for the mileage card.
Mhm. Yeah, it'll come out of your budget.
Okay, any other questions on the supervisor's budget? What's your next one, Carrie?
No, I was just kidding. Whenever
Huh?
you're done with budgets, I want to go to Stanwood Drainage.
You don't want to go through?
No, you crazy.
Oh, I should tell John, Jane called. She did try to call Ram, and they hadn't gotten back to her yesterday afternoon, so she called, and she said, leave it, we reduced it by 6 months, and she thought you should leave it there, because she had to get back to them. And I didn't hear from her today, that she heard from her.
Okay, anything else in the budget? I think Sandy wants to come in on Stanwood Drainage District, so I entertain a motion to adjourn to the Stanwood Drainage District.
And go get her.
So moved.
Okay, motion is made by Smith. Is there a second on motion?
Second.
Second by Bell. Roll call. Smith.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Dearborn, aye. We're in Stanwood Drainage District. We have some minutes to approve.
Well, I have these minutes. I have a,
Okay, we got the minutes from January 22nd. at $5,000 increments for the warrants.
Move to approve.
Okay, motion been made by Bell, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kaufman. Roll call. Bell.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Chairman I, approved.
I have this, Don Etler requested that we go into this IRS website for a tax exempt certificate for the contractor. But maybe you wanna do that after you actually approve their contract. So Terry gave me that task and I got online and printed that out for the contractor, so he could buy materials, I guess.
And be exempt from sales tax. Evidently,
So here's-
project
and
qualifies
here's
for it.
So we,
Contract for that.
For Don Etler.
so we need a motion to,
I think Wayne can just sign the certificate, can't he?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think I just need your signature on that.
authorized agent. Carries.
I thought I'd let you do.
We'll fight over each.
So we have to wait for Sandy.
Yeah, she's on the phone. She
And
wants-
then you saw his email
You know
about
what
your
she's gonna
contracts,
say.
you got.
Okay, they ship these contracts, everybody looked at them.
updated me.
The contracts, the bonds and everything that went around. And he said they're all in order. He agrees to complete the work comprising 2,000 specified in contracts. So we need a motion to accept the contracts and authorize the chairman to sign and the auditor.
So moved.
Okay, motion been made by Bell, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kaufman. Any more discussion? Roll call. Bell.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Cedar, aye.
Terry, do you wanna sign these later? There's a place for you to sign.
Okay. I'll do it.
Gary, so she can sign. The way we talked, they're gonna have tile up there today.
We're gonna be delivering time.
If anybody's up that way, they might wanna check, see if they're working.
Did they include their certificate of insurance?
Yeah, I believe
It's
there's
in
one
there.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I guess I should have passed that around. That was from Des Moines. Tom, do you want this back?
No, I've got one.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to talk to, Edith?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I saw her a couple of times. Rob did though.
Did she give him the resolution, or did she?
She talked to him, he didn't say about what, but
Okay.
she did say, he said that he wanted to talk to her for a while. And I don't know, I think it might have been at the one that was at the back of the Senate that he went to, that she was there.
I don't know if anybody else has set up your time for your outreach programs, but Dawn and I are going to West Branch on the 17th at 7 o'clock that night for their board meeting, and then we're going to decide whether it be the 21st or 28th on Saturday. We'll go over to the library. So that's ours for February.
You gonna put that in the West Branch Times then? That you'll be there?
Yeah.
They're also gonna put it on their website.
Where are you gonna go to the
I'll be at the
City Hall?
library.
Or the-
Yes, City Hall.
City
And then,
Hall.
then Matt said we could go up to the library, so that's usually where they have it. He was gonna check with his librarian, see if
For the
21st
town
or
hall.
28th was open, so we'll announce it that night then. Brad and John here in Tipton. You guys got yours set up?
Nope. I called Shirley and told her I'd be there Monday night, but
Okay.
You told her or you asked her?
both.
Mayor response, right?
That's right.
John, you're going up then too?
I'm going to the Farm Bureau meeting on Monday night.
Oh, I did call everybody in that's going to Farm Bureau meeting.
Yeah. That's out at
7, is that at 7?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
This email to Patty, the VA, you want to discuss the compensation study and the budget, right?
Mhm. Got Farm Bureau Monday night, and then Wednesday we got safety meeting with the judges, don't we? And then conference board at 6 o'clock Wednesday night. Everybody's got that in their calendar for conference board?
Here she is.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I waited to start the whole presentation till you were here.
All right, well, you go first.
Okay, so an update of what has been going on. Through the help of our independent auditors, Dee, which you all met, and everything, she had the pleasure of talking to Hudson, the attorney, and tried to find out exactly what code section and how they were getting around the whole $5,000. And now she said the 468.70, it's actually what we are doing is we're selling to the bank for cash, is how she's interpreting what is actually going on here. So the 5,000 was only to contractors. The 10,000 is fine since it's for the banks. So she's okay with that. Okay. We have figured out through D and Solutions, there's a drainage program out there, and we are requesting you to authorize us to purchase it. It's actually the accounting and real estate on my side, and it's going to be tax receipts and the ledger on the treasurer's side. This will be our double check of when the assessments get sent out, that we're receiving the correct money, and it's a double check for the banks too, to us. So right now it's on red light special, 50% off, so it's only going to cost the drainage district $4,500 and then $400 a year for maintenance.
And we'll have to keep that maintenance as long as we're paying off the warrants, right?
Yeah.
Once they're paid off, then we can drop that maintenance on it,
Right.
Did you say 450 for me?
400.
400.
400 annually. And we've figured out the whole process of how everything will be correctly published to the vendors themselves. It's just going to be an added transaction I have to do on my side. It's definitely going to save Sandy for doing all this through the drainage program, and she won't be writing the separate checks out of a separate account. So we have everything figured out. On top of that, Sandy went above and beyond and talked to Bob Steen at Bridge Bank and threw it past him because we still have the thing there. He needed to agree the whole dollar for dollar. So take it from there, Sandy.
And he checked with his other counterparts, and he is okay with that.
Good.
It's not what he wished, but he is okay with it. He just wants to move forward. But he does agree with the dollar for dollar.
So yeah.
Good.
So
So everything's in line then.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So all you
We
need
have
is
a good report.
authorization from the trustees of the Stanwood Drainage District to authorize you to buy $4,500 worth of software and
Yeah.
$400 maintenance fee per year.
Yes, please.
Please.
That's 50% off.
Mhm.
July special.
So moved, before the special's over.
I'll
Yeah.
second it.
Okay, the motion been made by Kaufman, is there a second to that
I'll
motion?
second.
Seconded by Smith. Any more discussion? Roll call. Kaufman.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Gal.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Dearborn, aye. That'll be charged to the Stanwood Drainage District.
Yes, that is correct.
Yep, so that'll be, you'll have to make out a bill to them, and then they'll have to get a warrant on it, huh?
Mhm. Exactly. So,
Will you have to do training on that?
yes.
Is this from Solutions?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they did have one of these already.
Yes. Oh, and we knew
For
that
other
too.
counties.
We were, yeah. We were just trying to watch money for them, but yeah, can't happen.
But
They're
my-
spending
You're
2.4
watching
million,
money.
so.
Well, and the other thing is it's gonna cost you more time on the other end. So
It is.
it's-
There's no
it
extra
doesn't make any difference.
spreadsheets. There's nothing like that, so.
It'll be within our reports.
Yes,
Good.
so at any time. So we're very excited about that.
Thank you gals for working it out.
Say that again.
Taking care of that.
We're very excited.
They're excited for working.
Wow.
I don't think you heard her right.
Yeah, me either.
She wants another
Mm.
Remember, it's a creek.
I will have to say that this is the best dam with drainage.
Yeah.
I've had yet.
I know. So it was actually positive. And we, you know, and myself, I'll speak for myself. It's not like I had anything against it, but I don't like wishy-washy manipulating numbers and not doing exactly the way I've always been taught and want the financials to be accurate. So that's why I was having a hard time with everything. So, but now it's
Dean
fine.
has already bought the warrants from the treasurer already?
Yeah, we've done one, but we need to redo it.
We have
to
one
start doing
invoice
that.
that needs
Yeah.
to be.
And there's more to be paid now since we're all on the same page.
And
So.
there'll probably be more coming in if they're moving tile up there already, so
Mhm.
they'll want an invoice for that.
But it will only be once a month.
Yep.
So you'll see it in your claims, and actually I'd like to just do a separate claims for that,
Yeah, that'd be
unless
good.
you, okay.
Yep.
Just to keep it separate, so, yeah, it's all by itself, so,
Sounds good.
yeah. Anything else, Senator D?
I don't think so.
Anything else in the Stanwood Drainage District? If there's nothing else, I entertain a motion to adjourn from the Stanwood Drainage District.
So moved.
Motion been made by Gal, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Bell, roll call. Gal.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Kaufman.
Aye.
Dearborn, aye. We're back in the regular session.
Okay.
Anything else coming before the regular session?
Thank
We
you.
get everything lined up for next
Thanks.
Tuesday. You want to tell
Sam.
us what's on the agenda for next Tuesday?
Carrie, did you want me to have the custodians call in? The custodians know the board's going ahead with that, or should I call him? Or-
I know Denny was talking to Wayne this morning,
So, I don't,
but, yeah,
okay. I don't know.
We need to make
Custodians
sure
wanna
they
talk
are.
to them to schedule it, or?
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
he wanted to start on it ASAP, I think.
okay,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I can have Denny call him and see when he wants to start and have stuff ready.
And I've got-
Probably have to, block off stairways and the noise
Okay.
factor.
I'll
and-
let you take
yeah.
care of it. At 9:00 you have department heads meeting. At 9:30 you have the engineer. He has an IDOT federal aid agreement for County Bridge Program project on Charles Avenue in section 28 of Pioneer Township. And he has an agreement for the installation of safety improvements at the Union Pacific Railroad crossing at Echo Avenue in section 14 of Pioneer Township. And then at 10:00 we have an hour set out for, not an hour, half an hour for the Stanwood Drainage bid letting for the Highway 38 crossings. And then, Don, you set a public hearing date at 11 for the drainage district on that same item. And then at 11, pardon?
Etler's gonna be here, isn't
I believe,
he? Don Etler?
I believe so, but yes, because he's meeting with your,
Oh, right away, people?
those
Yes,
two people. And then at 11:10, I have the VA commissioners and Patty, and I sent out an email asking Patty for their contact information. And then you're gonna have RC&D funding, is that, no, you did that already, didn't you?
No.
No, RC&D,
That'd probably just be
Yeah.
under budget, wouldn't it?
did you do that?
Yeah, we did RC&D, cause we passed
No, we
it.
didn't.
It did pass.
Remember I asked to delay the,
Oh, yeah, you wanted to table it
Table, oh,
till
so-
Tuesday.
yeah.
So I have RC&D funding on there, and
'Cause you
I
wanna
have,
think about it.
I still have fiscal year 15-16 budget decisions on there,
Yeah.
and the usual stuff at the top.
Actually, I didn't request, I don't need a separate discussion on RC&D, we can just do that with the budget
Under
decisions.
budget decisions,
Yeah, I don't,
okay.
I'm not asking for time in the,
Okay. That's what I have on that so far.
Okay, is there anything else coming for the meeting? If there's nothing else, to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, motion been made by Smith, is there a second to that motion?
second.
Second by Kaufman, all
Sorry,
in favor?
that was.
Guys, do you wanna be your own?